All right, world. All right, world. Listen, phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. We used to say top of the morning, right? Top of the morning, but depending on where you are, it might not be morning. So listen, phenomenal morning, phenomenal day. I am Sean Rais and I am back. I have given this broadcast to my team for the last couple of days, right? So you've been listening to the phenomenal Junior Frederick, the phenomenal Bobby Jackson. We had the phenomenal Travis Klein on here, and we're going to have some really phenomenal people coming up in the days and the weeks and the months to come. Listen, I am super excited to be here with you this morning. I have some very, very salient topics to speak about. I actually just came from a sales training, right? Where I was training my team on how to conduct themselves in the morning and on sales calls and on calls in general, how to conduct themselves within your organization. So listen, does anybody wish they had better people? Does anybody say to themselves, I wish I could find good people, right? Good people. Problem in business. The problem in business is having someone with your energy. You've got a vision as the CEO, as the PBO, as the Chief Executive Officer, or the professional business owner. You have a vision. You have a way that things should be done, but it's kind of hard to translate that energy to your team. Your team can't quite get it. They're not really on the same page. You wish they could close more. You wish they could show up earlier, show up with the right energy. Listen, it reflects on you. Your team is a reflection of you. Let me just let you guys know this, like your team, if you have a team, if you don't have a team, it's a reflection of you. Listen to me and listen to me very well. Are there some things that you could be doing better if you only had the time? So let me know who's here. Put it in the chat. Let me know if you're watching, if you're present. Let me know where you're calling in from, where you're listening in from, if you have a team, if you don't have a team, if you wish you did have a team, or you wish you had a better team. What would that look like? Just imagine being freed up from the day-to-day details so you could handle visionary excellence, so you could really step into the space of a chief excellence officer and create the vision for the organization and where it's going to go in the next 4, 5, 10 years. What would that look like? What would that look like if you had the freedom as the visionary to think, as the business owner to think? Because let me tell you something. I tell my people this all the time. I tell my clients this all the time. The highest value resource of an entrepreneur is their mind. The highest value resource of an entrepreneur is their mind. If you, as the CEO, are handling every detail yourself, what you're doing is a lot of activity. What you're not doing is a lot of thinking. What you're handling is a lot of activity, a lot of to-dos. But what you're not doing is a lot of thinking, a lot of strategy. You're stuck in the tactical. You're stuck in the tactical and the operational demands and requirements of your business, and you're not thinking of strategy. You're not strategizing and you're not being innovative. It's impossible. So watch, this is what happens, right? We get caught in the driving of our business. You get caught in the driving. Now think about when you were driving to work. Now some of you may have a job at the same time. You have a business and you have a job. You have a job and you got a business on the side. Think about when you drive to work. The first time you drove to work, and I can attest to this, the first time you drove to work, you were watching everything. You were looking for the details. You were looking for all the signs. You were looking to become familiar with your ride to work, your journey, your commute. And then once you became familiar with your journey to work, now you drive on autopilot. You don't pay as much attention. You could pretty much drive there with your eyes closed. This is how people operate in their business. They're stuck in the operational tasks and they're basically flying on autopilot. They're not thinking. They're no longer curious. They're no longer looking for opportunities to collapse time and to grow the business. The business doesn't grow from operational procedures. I'm just going to let you know, like, the business doesn't grow from operational procedures. The business scales based on strategy. Operational procedures hold the business. They hold the business together. They service the clients. They service the customers that have been closed. When you create a sale, then operations flow. And there's some operational on the front end, but the operations side of it is really the back end of the business. The front end is the marketing. The front end is the strategy, the vision. And if you're stuck in the day-to-day operations because you don't have a team, or because you have a team that doesn't perform, it is a reflection on you as the business owner. And you just can't scale that way. These are the things that we'll be talking about today. I know you're like, oh my God, we're going to have a phenomenal time. Sean's going to tell us about what we need and what we don't have and why we need it. Listen, I want to help you. I want to help you get out from under the business and take you from working in the business to working on the business. That's what we'll be talking about today. This is the Breakfast with the Brand. I'm glad to be back. I've been traveling for the last couple of days, and the last week, everything was kind of up in the air. I was up in the air multiple times. Listen, we back on ground zero. We back on the floor, and I want to help you get grounded so you don't get pounded in your business and you can absolutely scale. We'll be right back. Let's grow. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Raiz. I'm proud. I said Sean Raiz. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Confidence is key. Most of the people I work with, they have the education, the experience, and the expertise. We call those the 3 E's. But they're looking for the 3 I's, the income, the impact, and the independence. And I always tell them that the bridge between the 3 E's and the 3 I's is marrying your confidence to your competence. Most of the people I work with, again, have all of the competence in the world. What I help them do is get the confidence. All right. It might help, right? It might help to have a little bit of that confidence, right? But let me explain something. Confidence comes from competence. Confidence comes from competence. It comes from knowing what you're doing. So listen, I work with my clients. I've worked with multiple clients over a long time span. Before I came online, I was working offline. Before I went, click and order, I was working brick and mortar. And I was working with executives, working with CEOs, working with high-level key executives and helping them to build their confidence and build their leadership so they can become leaders of their organization. So as an entrepreneur, as an independent business owner, a professional business owner, it is your job to lead. It is your job to lead with the vision. It is not your job to do everything. Right? Contrary to popular belief, contrary to popular belief, it is not your role within the organization to send all of the emails, write all of the text messages, be all up in everyone's DMs and, being on every sales call. That's not really your role. Your role is to set the vision and inspire and motivate other people to follow your vision. And then march on to victory through the directives that you come up with in your strategy sessions. So people say, Sean, so as a CEO, who do I have a strategy session with? Well, think about someone in Afghanistan. Think about the military and think about someone who's running an operation in Afghanistan. They have to speak to someone who sees the entire lay of the land. So while they're boots on the ground in the mountains, they're speaking to someone probably in this country who's looking at the lay of the land on a satellite. They've been there before. They've got the entire landscape mapped out. And they're telling the person what to do because they can see the entire peripheral. You as the CEO, let me emphasize this. You as the CEO are running an operation. Now, if you've never been in this kind of business before, if you've never seen this lay of the land, if you know how to be successful on your job, but you don't know how to be successful as the leader of your own organization, then you need to speak to someone at home control, someone at the motherboard, someone who has the experience, someone who has been there, someone who can give you the lay of the land and say, listen, this is what you're looking at. These are the things that you have to do. You have to capture this town. You have to capture market awareness. You have to market. You have to put yourself out there. You have to set up a hub. You need to create a beachhead. You need a website. You need somewhere where people can come and find out about your products and services. You need to have your troops on the front line. You need people manning the phones. You need people picking up the phone, conducting outbound calls until your marketing can overflow and you can handle inbound. I hope that makes sense. Let me explain it a little bit more rudimentally and a little bit more elementary. If you don't have inbound calls, if you don't have people inquiring about you, if you don't have people just clicking your link and booking a call, then you need to create that brand awareness. You need to create that market awareness, and that only takes place through consistently marketing. And then people say, well, Sean, what am I marketing? What do I market? What do I sell? What do I have to sell? This is where the 4D framework comes in. As the leader, it is your job to decide. First, decide. and then have the discipline once you make a decision to stick to the discipline long enough for it to develop. And then do it so consistently and so intensively that you're able to actually dominate and plant a flag in that vertical, in that space, whether it's leadership, marketing, speaking, consulting, coaching, whatever it is. It can be human resources. You need to plant a flag and begin to proliferate. So in military, they call it propaganda. You have to create the propaganda. You have to send the planes overhead and drop the newsletters. Think now, seriously, they do this to indoctrinate a town. They do this to indoctrinate a country. They fly planes overhead and they drop newsletters on the heads of the citizens so they can turn around and see these pamphlets and pick up these pamphlets and read this information and be like, oh, the redcoats are coming. This is what these people are going to do. We need to be for them or against them. You as a business owner, you need to propagate. So if you watch our brand, I tell people all the time, I say, hear what I say, but also watch what I do. Hear what I'm telling you, but also watch me in the marketplace. Why? Because you're going to see us post consistently. You're going to see us create propaganda. Every person that you follow, every influencer that you follow, every big name, every marquee name that you follow, everyone whose book you read or whoever you Google or go to YouTube for advice, you're going to see them on LinkedIn. You're going to see them on Meta. You're going to see them on X. You're going to see them on Instagram. You're going to see them on TikTok. You're going to see them in multiple different ways too. You'll see this, me doing a video. And then around 8 a.m. when this goes off, you might get an email because we put up a newsletter on LinkedIn every morning, 8 a.m. consistently, like clockwork. And then around 11, there's more. It's called omnipresence. It's called saturating your market. It's called creating your beachhead. It's called planting your flag so that when people think of your name, they'll think of your service. Let me say that one more time. When people think of your name, they think of your service. So when they say Sean Rais, they say, oh, personal branding. Oh, leadership development. Oh, professional speaker. You want people to say your name and then think of your service. But that will never happen if you're not marketing. That will never happen if you're not planting your flag. And it will never happen if you're the only person in your organization because there's only so much that you can do. There's only so much that you can do. So I understand when people say, I'm tired, Sean. How am I supposed to do everything that you do? I can't do everything that you do, right, Luana? Jordan, I can't do everything that you do, Sean. It's impossible. That's okay. Listen, when you don't have the team, you need to pick one or two. Pick one immediately, and then pick two and do what you need to do. Seriously, which is proliferate and propagate and market until the market comes home. You need to proliferate. You need to indoctrinate. They actually call it conquer, fortify, and domesticate. Conquer, fortify, and domesticate. So first you need to conquer your own fear. That's the first thing that you need to do. Stop being afraid. Let people know who you are consistently. Conquer your own fear and then conquer the marketplace. Speak. If you can't speak, you can't eat. If you don't know how to speak, we have Speaking Like a Leader. We will train you how to speak. We will train you not only to speak, but to speak confidently. Not only to speak confidently, because confidence without competence is arrogance. Let me be very clear. Confidence without competence is arrogance. And that's why it's hard to find confidence, because you're not arrogant and you really don't know what you're doing. If there's really a knowledge gap, then be humble and search for the knowledge. Search for the knowledge. If you don't know how to speak and you don't know how to properly construct your ideas into vocals and use this instrument, this God-given instrument, the vocal cords, to convert eyeballs into paychecks, then let us know and we can help you with that. Like, that's what it comes down to. We have Speaking Like a Leader that will help you turn your competence into confidence. Most of the people that I work with, and this means you, most of the people that I work with have all the competence in the world. They know what they know. They just don't know how to apply it. They just don't know how to apply it. So I was always a leader. I always led, but I didn't know how to orchestrate, market that skill set into the marketplace. I had to learn the new lay of the land. And people who has followed my career, they know how and where and from whom I learned these different skills. Every time I had a new thing to learn, I went to a new university. Every single time. If I need to learn something, I'm going to find out who's the best at it, who's crushing it in that space, who knows how to put it all together. And it doesn't make a difference to me what the investment is. As a matter of fact, the higher the investment, the better, because I'm more confident in that person's competence to be able to teach me what I need to know in a small amount of time so I can go execute it. And get results. So it's okay to spend $10,000 if I can add a zero to the back of it once I learn the skill and the competency. It's okay to spend $100,000. One of the first things that I said to myself is I wanted to put $250,000 in my head. I wanted $250,000 here. And I was in college, so you can imagine it wasn't that hard to do. But I did the formal and non-formal education on leadership. I studied everything from everyone who said anything. I read so many books. Anytime that I want to learn something, I rent the library. Like, I buy the library and I go to the leading people in that space. When it comes to branding, when it comes to speaking, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to executive coaching, when it comes to organizational consultation, when it comes to closing with confidence and competence, we have put those things together. We have compiled them together. And we have created multiple resources for you to learn how to do that. Again, conquer, fortify, and domesticate. If you are not creating your organizational plan, then you are existing inside of someone else's organizational plan. That's a fact. If you're not building the life of your dreams, you're building the life of someone else's dream. You're creating their reality, or you're creating your own reality. My job is to urge you. My job is to seriously urge you and introduce to you the idea that you can do it for yourself. That's my job. I took that job on myself because I saw there was a leadership gap. There was a gap in leadership. And I'm going to tell you about that gap in leadership when we come back. Let's grow. We'll be right back. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
So when you're young, mommy tells you to play nice. Play nice, Timmy. Let all of the other kids play too. But in business, it's not about playing nice. In business, it's about winning. It's about adding multiple zeros to your revenue. Now, of course, your staff wins. And when you win, other people win. However, when it comes to competition, you absolutely must dominate. You can't play for participation, and you can't play just to get along or just to get by, because business is serious. Business will help you to change the world, or the world will change you. Your people will either win or your people will lose based on your level of leadership, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much you know about dominating. All right. Welcome back. So before we went to the break, we talked about the leadership gap. So when I was in my undergrad and I was attending college and I looked at the competencies, the core constructs of industrial and organizational psychology, I looked at all of the different leadership courses and succession planning and leadership coaching and leadership development. All of these things were void to me. They were like new words, new terminology. What I'm going to ask you to do, because you're a veteran, and when I say you're a veteran, I mean you're a veteran of your business structure, like your industry. You're a seasoned veteran in your industry if you have more than 5 to 10 years in your vertical. You know what's missing. You know what's missing. And that's what I want you to focus on when it comes to your messaging. What's missing in your vertical? If you've been in human services for the past 20 years, past 10 years, past 5 years, you know something's missing. The system is broken. How can you fix it? How can you make amends? How can you become a bridge for what's missing? If you're in leadership, how can you become a bridge, and how can you present, how can you package, how can you create a product or service that fixes the gap? I noticed that there was a gap, because when I read all of these things about leadership, when I looked into my circle, when I looked into my world, I didn't see leaders that represented my story, that came from my Harlem, that came from my background, that grew up the way that I did. I said, hold on, there's a story that's not being represented here. There's an experience that's not being spoken to here. And because it's not being spoken to, the children and the young people are having the same problems that I did when I was younger. I didn't see myself there. I didn't have a representative that looked like me, that shared my story. So I couldn't relate to it. And because I couldn't relate to it, I made a lot of bad choices and suffered consequences that I would not have had to suffer, because I would have made different decisions if I would have had a representative that looked like me, that shared my background, that told my story. There is a story in your vertical that's not being told. There is a story, there is a narrative in your vertical that isn't known. And you hold that story in your heart. You hold that story in your heart. And as I'm saying this, I know it's clicking. I can feel it clicking for you. As I'm saying this, you're like, wow, that's right. This is working, but this is not working. And I could fix this. Well, this is where your money comes from, guys. This is where your business comes from. This is why we created the executive coaching community called the Leadership Leverage. Because for all of the people that had MBAs, for all of the people that had doctorates, for all of the people that had bachelor's degrees and 10 years in their vertical, they didn't know how to leverage their leadership from brick and mortar to click and order and create businesses that gave them the lion's share of the equity that they produced for someone else's company. So let me give you a little bit of background about industrial and organizational psychology. If I was working in a regular organization, my background would probably place me somewhere in HR. So I know about human resources. If you are the lucky recipient, I was doing some history, I was doing some statistical analysis yesterday on the middle class. Now listen, this is extremely interesting. Somebody might feel some pain here. Share this out, guys. Share this out, because I'm going to say something that's going to dispel a lot of myths and it's going to help a lot of people. Hopefully it helps you. But even if it's helping you, share it out for other people. If it's not helping you, share it out so other people can be helped by it. Okay, so as an industrial and organizational psychologist, I am trained in human services. So I understand salary and salary, compensation, and benefits. Okay. If you are what they call middle class, which somehow the statistics say, if you make $43,000 and above to 130, you're middle class. 43, it's abysmal. But $43,000 to $130,000, you're middle class. Now, in order for the organization to justify your existence, they have to make a multiple of 10 on your salary. And we'll say your salary and benefits package. So the salary that they pay you is 47. If the salary they pay you is 47, of course, they're going to tax 40% of that. So you actually come home with like 29. That's your yearly cash, which will leave you broke within 6 months. And this is why there's so much month at the end of the money instead of money at the end of the month, which is why it's so imperative that you do something for yourself. Create a business model. Okay. For the organization to pay you that plus the compensation, let's say the compensation is another $15,000, $20,000. So altogether, your comp and ben package is $60,000, $67,000. In order for them to justify giving you that money, you have to create for the organization a zero multiple. There has to be a zero added to the back of your compensation package. For them to give you $67,000, you have to make them $670,000. So your job, where you clock in, are making 10x your salary. That's the value that you're bringing to the organization to justify your existence. And the moment that you drop below that, you're going to get a warning. The moment that you drop below that level of productivity, you're going to get a performance analysis and have a performance meeting. And they're going to let you know that, you're slipping in your performance. You need to create more quotas. You need to write up more case notes. You need to produce more. And they might give you 3 warnings. But if your level of productivity doesn't match a 10x multiple of the revenue that you get for your salary and comp and ben, they'll let you go and bring someone else who will. Now, this is my message to you. If you're making $67,000 within your organization, you can take your service, your knowledge, your expertise, your education, and your experience direct to consumer. We call it DTC, direct to consumer, which means if you're in counseling, you can open up your own practice. I was a counselor, and I was told that I couldn't speak to a client's future. Just imagine. I'm in the diaspora. I'm in the Harlem that I come from. I'm in the underserved populations from whence I came and made all of the bad decisions. And I'm working with other people who have made bad decisions, but now I'm educated And I'm telling them, listen, you don't have to continue to make bad decisions. You can go to college. You can go create a future. You can open a business. It doesn't make a difference what you've done. It doesn't make a difference the strikes that are against you. You can create a new future and a new reality. And I was being told to stop. I was being told, don't concentrate on their future, concentrate on their past. Talk to them about what they've been through. Create the biopsychosocial model of what happened to you when. What happened to you when you were 6? What happened when daddy left? What happened when mommy and daddy broke up? I was re-traumatizing people. And that's what I was instructed to do. And that's when I knew there was a gap. There was a gap in leadership that needed to be addressed because these people did not need to be re-traumatized. They did not need for me to scrape the Band-Aid off of them every time they came in and sat down for a session. What they needed to do was be inspired. What they needed to do was be informed. What they needed to do was be able to see a future where they belonged in it, empowered. And I created the Leadership Leverage Executive Coaching Community because I wasn't going to be paid to do it. Why? Because they did not value that population as much. And that's why I was able to make all of the mistakes that I made. And that's why no one corrected me until my wife came into my life and I was able to see another path. So my job now is to help other people see another path. What I'm saying to you is that you can take your skills, your expertise, your education, and take it direct to consumer and make a 10x multiple of whatever your salary is. If you make 50, you can make 500. It won't even be hard. When you get good at it, you can double the 10x multiple. You can go from $50,000 a year to $1 million a year when you take your products and services direct to consumer and you do it well in a phenomenal fashion. And you build a good brand. And you begin to compound skills. When you begin to compound skills and bring in more skill sets, bring in more competencies, and bring in more confidence, go from being green to being a machine in business. Sky is the limit. Sky is the limit. There's nothing holding you back but you. Sometimes we think that there's something holding us. I heard something from, I think it was Ed Milet, who said, I just happened to cross this. And he said that we're either celebrating our childhood or we're suffering from it. He said, everybody's either celebrating their childhood, continuing to be healthy, phenomenal. They were nourished when they were young. They're happy, they're vibrant, they're empowered, and they're confident, or they're compensating and they're hiding and they're in pain and they're suffering from what they've been through when they were young. My education and experience in a counseling capacity tells me this. Sometimes your development gets offset. Sometimes things will happen that will stunt your growth and stunt your development. Sometimes we will do things or things will happen to us that will take us off the tracks and derail our normal development into adulthood. And sometimes what we need to do is we need to come to terms with that and realign. Sometimes we need to accept. In my book, The 7 Prerequisites to Success, I talk about that as being the acceptance stage. So there's hard times. Everybody goes through them. There's hard times. Then there's failure. And then there's acceptance. And when you accept the hard times that you've been through and the fact that you failed or someone failed you, sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Sometimes something happened because no one was in a protective capacity to help you. And because of that, we don't strive as hard as we could. We don't give as much as we have. And we don't have the confidence that if we did have, we could absolutely change not just the narrative, but the entire planet. It's possible. It's possible this morning. And I guarantee you guys, if it's possible for me, it's possible for you. Like I share a little bit of my story when I tell my Harlem story. I tell a little bit of I scrape the surface and let you know just a little bit of what it looks like. But you can just trust and acknowledge and be comfortable in the fact that I've seen some things, been some places, made some mistakes, suffered some consequences. And if I can go through that kind of purgatory and come back, then you can too. And you can make a difference in someone else's life. And if you can take that difference direct to consumer, as opposed to going through the middleman organization, you can make a 10x multiple of whatever your last salary was. That's where add a zero comes from. I help people add a zero to their revenue. But before I can add a zero to your revenue, I have to help you add a zero to your confidence, and then add a zero to your competence, so that you can get over whatever it was that you've been through. And then you can up level your skill set and learn the skills that really apply. It doesn't take that much skill to clock in, but it does take a nice amount of skill to market your services. And it takes a little bit of awareness when it comes to technology. Like right now, we're on Facebook in three different places in Facebook. We're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter or X. And someone else was speaking about IG the other day, saying that we're there. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. There's a little bit of technology back here that you have to learn. There's psychology that would probably help you when it comes to conversions. There are statistics and analytics when it comes to CRM. CRM is a customer relationships management tool. Like there's some systems and protocols and procedures and platforms and technology that we do learn that you need to learn before you can just dole it out and hire someone else to do it. So we began this conversation about teams. And what I'm saying to you is that in order to become an effective team builder, you have to become an effective leader. You have to become an effective communicator. You have to become an effective CEO. You have to have thinking time to put your vision together, because no one's going to follow you if you don't have your vision together. If you're not taking people, if the hill that you're trying to take is not huge, phenomenal, and transformative, then all of your interactions will be transactional. And when your interactions are transactional, it sounds like this. I'll do this as long as you give me this. I'll do this as long as you give me this. I'll do this as long as you give me this. And no one will give you 1,000% because they're transactional. They're not transformational. They can't see the vision. And if they can't see the vision, it's because you haven't communicated it effectively, or they're not a team player, one or the other. And the only way you can find that out is by honing your skill set, honing your ability to communicate, and honing your effectiveness as a leader. This is how we go from bland to brand, and from unknown to full blown, and from the best kept secret to the only viable option. From a follower and a consumer to a leader and a producer. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. I want to drop something real quick. This is where everybody begins. This is where everybody began within my organization. This is where everybody begins. When you hear Bobby talk about going 400% revenue increase, this is where it happened. When you hear about people saying that I came in, I was making 6 figures and Sean helped me to double that in less than 45 days, that's where they started. When you hear people saying I wasn't monetizing my business, I never had clients, I was coaching for free. Guys, you know what it feels like to coach for free? You got clients, you're coaching. People come to you in your neighborhood. People come to you in your family. You consult them for free. You spend hours and you think hard and you put together plans for people for free. Everybody wants you to come speak. Come speak at my organization. Come speak. Oh, you're so motivational. Oh, you're so transformative. Come speak to my kids. Come to my school. Come to my organization. Come speak to my team. Oh no, we don't have any money. If you're lucky, you might get flown in, but you won't be compensated. If you're speaking for free, this is where everybody begins. To add some yin to their vision, to add some compensation to their motivation. right? To go from celebrated and how do you say celebrated and connotated to monetized and compensated. You don't need to be certified right now. What you need to be is monetized. You don't need another degree, guys. What you need is revenue in your business. You need a raise, and no one's going to give you a raise that's going to allow you to escape the vicious cycle. The vicious cycle of 50 weeks to 2 or 48 weeks to 4. This is something that we do for ourselves. This is something that we have to do for ourselves. So I always tell people, I say, you work from 9 to 5 for what you need, and then you work from 5 to 9 for what you want. You've got to have another plan, guys. You've got to have another plan, because your managers are not writing the kind of performance plan for you that's going to allow you the kind of freedom that you need. That's going to allow you the kind of compensation that you need for your family to be free. I was speaking to somebody the other day. They said they don't have adequate health care. I'm like, wow, man, you know, that's sad when you have a business, when you have your business inside of someone else's business, and you're bringing yourself to someone else's situation, and you don't have health benefits, and you've got, you know, real life situations, and you got kids, and you got responsibilities. Who's going to care for the little guy? Who's going to care for the little guy? It has to start with the little guy, right? It has to start with you. Brand you and not what you do. Click on that link, guys. Go to that link, put that in your browser, find out more about what we do and how we can help you take your education, experience, and expertise direct to consumer so you can have more impact, get more income, and enjoy more independence for the skills that you already have. If anybody's paying you now, then you can go direct to consumer and make more money than you probably ever thought possible. One of the things that I said when I came out, and this is because I experienced it myself, and then I began to experience it with my clients, is we help you make your yearly income monthly, your monthly income weekly, and your weekly income daily. Just want you to think about that for a moment. Just want you to think about that for a moment. Make your yearly income monthly, your monthly income weekly, and your weekly income daily. And I don't care where you're at in business. I don't care if you just came in and you're making I don't care if you're a kid that just came out of school and you're making $27,000 on your first job. Imagine making that monthly. I don't care if you're a seasoned veteran on the upper end of the middle class, making $120,000, $130,000 annually. What would it do for your life to make it monthly? Could we make it 60? Make it $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. What would it look like to do those kinds of numbers? That's $5,000 a month. Imagine making that a week. Imagine that being a bad week. 5K being a bad week. Like, no, we got to change something. You can go as far as you can see. You can go as far as you can see and believe. You can receive as far as you can believe. It starts with branded like a leader for us. You know, we also have the Ultimate Brand Challenge. I think that's for the beginning of the year. Just look at these different systems. Each one of these is a system. Just check it out for yourself. Look at the different systems. Look at the different opportunities. Look at the different things that you can create for yourself. And then think about how it could help you if we could help you to put those systems together and put those systems in place for you. Those are called funnels, by the way. Right? Those are called funnels. One offer. Information tells, stories sell. So information tells, the website informs, the funnels actually give them one thing to do. It's concentrated. It's more focused. It's more condensed into one thing. What is your one thing? What is your one thing? That's one thing that no one's going to decide for you, right? Your one thing is one thing that no one else is going to decide for you but you. You have to pick your one thing, and then you have to stand on it. And when you stand on it, when you make your decision, you got to have the discipline to allow it time to develop so that you can dominate. This is Sean Rais. I'm so happy to be back, guys. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, and we will be talking about business. We will be talking about business. We will be talking about your brand, and we will be talking about how to help you dominate so you can make next year your absolute best year. Let's grow.
I said Sean Rais. I'm proud. I said Sean Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. What you're looking at right now is the new face of leadership. I chose to go the route of SOE, standards of excellence. So I help people put zeros behind their numbers. I help people move up in or out of their organization and get paid their annual income monthly, their monthly income weekly, and their weekly income daily. I promise you, if you follow me at all, you're gonna wanna use something to write with. CSA first, CSA. Clarify, simplify, and amplify. Clarify, simplify, and amplify. It starts with a decision. Who do you wanna be and what do you wanna do? Who do you wanna be? You have to define that. If you don't know, then it's vague and it'll never be clear. The problem that we have is clarity. We walk into an organization happy to be there, happy that they accepted us, but we don't have a clear goal. That's why people stay in the same organization year after year after year, go to the same vacation spots with the same people and talk the same amount of nonsense around the same water cooler. So when I go into an organization and someone says they've been here for 20 years and they're still around $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, I'm like, whew, it's chilly. It's a little bit cold when I know that all it takes for you to raise your prices, whether it's inside or outside of an organization, is self-belief and dedication. Brand you and not what you do. So when I meet people, I ask people, tell me a little bit about yourself, and they immediately tell me what they do. That's not who you are. Branding is who you are. Marketing is how people find out about you. So when you say, I'm a photographer, you just lumped yourself in with a million other photographers. What's special about you? Why should I work with you? I don't need a hand with a camera. I need a man with a story, a woman with a goal, a vision, someone with an idea of where they want to, what they want to be and who they want to impact in their lives. That's what moves me. We know where we belong, whether we're in that seat or not. We heard the word legacy and we were pulled to come. I flew in last minute. Let's go. Leadership, legacy, love. Whew. I gotta be there. So what happens in marketing is when you say, I am you put yourself in what we call a red sea. You're now fighting against a million competitors with a million different things. Clarify. Who are you? What do you stand for? and then simplify it. Don't make it 10 things. Bruce Lee said, I do not fear the man who has thrown 10,000 kicks. He says, I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. You can have the most mouth-watering steak that the world has ever seen, but if you try to position it or place it in a vegan neighborhood, you make no money. Who are you trying to market to? Sometimes we don't support each other. Sometimes you got to go outside of your community, outside of your neighborhood, outside of your phone book to find someone who will support you. So if your business is hurting, think about the place that you're trying to move, whatever it is that you're moving, and the people that you're trying to sell to. You want to become the OVO. The OVO is the only viable option in your vertical. The only viable option in your vertical. We're not here for competition. We're here for domination. We're here for domination. Period. And if you feel differently, you're probably in the wrong room. Is anybody ready for the fifth one? Are you ready for the fifth one? Might want to capture this. Might want to capture this. For God's sakes, man, your prices. Your prices. We should stand out because of price. Some people look for the lowest price. You're making a big mistake because you're defining yourself. Your success comes from mindset and perception. If you're competing over the lowest price, there's a problem. Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands. Train people. I'm going to leave you with this. We train people how to treat us when we meet us based on how we treat ourselves. Brand you and not what you do. Thank you. What you're looking at right now is the new face of leadership. I chose to go the route of SOE, standards of excellence. So I help people put zeros behind their numbers. I help people move up in or out of their organization and get paid their annual income monthly, their monthly income weekly, and their weekly income daily. I promise you, if you follow me at all, you're going to want to use something to write with. CSA first. CSA. Clarify, simplify, and amplify. Clarify, simplify, and amplify. It starts with the decision. Who do you want to be and what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? You have to define that. If you don't know, then it's vague and it'll never be clear. The problem that we have is clarity. We walk into an organization happy to be there, happy that they accepted us, but we don't have a clear goal. That's why people stay in the same organization year after year after year, go to the same vacation spots with the same people and talk the same amount of nonsense around the same water cooler. So when I go into an organization and someone says they've been here for 20 years and they're still around $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, I'm like, whew, it's chilly. It's a little bit cold when I know that all it takes for you to raise your prices, whether it's inside or outside of an organization, is self-belief and dedication. Brand you and not what you do. So when I meet people, I ask people, tell me a little bit about yourself, and they immediately tell me what they do. That's not who you are. Branding is who you are. Marketing is how people find out about you. So when you say, I'm a photographer, you just lumped yourself in with 1 million other photographers. What's special about you? Why should I work with you? I don't need a hand with a camera. I need a man with a story. A woman with a goal, a vision. Someone with an idea of where they want to, what they want to be and who they want to impact in their lives. That's what moves me. We know where we belong, whether we're in that seat or not. We heard the word legacy and we were pulled to come. I flew in last minute. Let's go. Leadership, legacy, love. Whew. I gotta be there. So what happens in marketing is when you say, I am you put yourself in what we call a red sea. You're now fighting against 1 million competitors with 1 million different things. Clarify. Who are you? What do you stand for? And then simplify it. Don't make it 10 things. Bruce Lee said, I do not fear the man who has thrown 10,000 kicks. He says, I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. You can have the most mouth-watering steak that the world has ever seen, but if you try to position it or place it in a vegan neighborhood, you make no money. Who are you trying to market to? Sometimes we don't support each other. Sometimes you got to go outside of your community, outside of your neighborhood, outside of your phone book to find someone who will support you. So if your business is hurting, think about the place that you're trying to move, whatever it is that you're moving, and the people that you're trying to sell to. You want to become the OVO. The OVO is the only viable option in your vertical. The only viable option in your vertical. We're not here for competition. We're here for domination. We're here for domination. Period. And if you feel differently, you're probably in the wrong room. Is anybody ready for the fifth one? Are you ready for the fifth one? Might want to capture this. Might want to capture this. For God's sakes, man, your prices. Your prices. We should stand out because of price. Some people look for the lowest price. You're making a big mistake because you're defining yourself. Your success comes from mindset and perception. If you're competing over the lowest price, there's a problem. Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands. Train people. I'm going to leave you with this. We train people how to treat us when we meet us based on how we treat ourselves. Brand you and not what you do. Thank you.